Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. As everyone is logging in, please feel free to get comfortable with the platform, including the Q&A. Before we dive in, I do have a few quick housekeeping items that I wanted to go over. First, this session is being recorded, and we'll be sending out a copy of the recording after the webinar. So with that, we encourage you to please share it with any team members that weren't able to join today or anyone you think that would benefit from what we will be discussing. There will also be a couple of poll questions that are going to pop up throughout the presentation, and we ask that you please answer them as they will really help us provide important insights. There's also a Q&A on the top right hand of your screen, I believe. So as we go along, please feel free to pop in any questions that you have, and we will get to as many of those during the webinar as we can. If we don't get to answer all your questions or if something pop-ups after the fact, we will be providing contact information in the deck that we're going to be sharing as well, so you can reach out to us after the webinar as well. And finally, we also will have a brief survey at the end of the event that's going to pop up as soon as the webinar ends. And we ask that you please just hang on for an extra minute. Again, your feedback is greatly important to us, and it's going to help us drive future events. So we would appreciate your participation in that. Okay. So let's look at the agenda and what we will be discussing today. So we're going to talk about how screening impacts your organization, the importance of being consistent with your screening, compliance, and the benefits of integrating your tech stack, along with complying with state and federal laws. Lastly, we'll be doing a live demo within the Workable platform. So let's go ahead and make a few introductions. Thank you again for joining us. We're so glad you could all make it today, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here. I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Jenny Johnson. I'm the Senior Partner Manager here at Verified First that has the pleasure of managing our Workable partnership. And also joining me today is Mary Hargrave, who is a National Account Executive here at Verified First. Hi, Mary. Thank you for joining us. Mary is going to be leading our demo today of the Workable Verified First integration. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into our first poll question. Before we dive in, we're going to try to get some insights from you guys, and this is going to really help us understand what current areas or onboarding processes you feel you could be improved the most right now. So we encourage you to select as many as are applicable, and we'll give it about a minute. And again, your feedback on this is going to help us, again, give some insights into how we can guide today's discussion into future webinars as well. So we appreciate you participating. And we'll give it, like I said, about a minute, and then we will share those results. So we're getting some good responses here. We're just about 10 more seconds. Okay, so looking at some of the responses, it looks like several of you are looking at pre-employment background screening, which is wonderful. So perfect opportunity to talk about our integration and the benefits of Verified First today. So you're at the right place. So thank you very much for participating in that. And we are going to go ahead and dive in. So I wanted to share a little bit about who Verified First is before we get started. So Verified First is a fast-growing tech company on a mission to deliver cutting-edge HR technology that transforms the way organizations protect their people. And Verified First offers a variety of services, including background screening, drug testing, I-9 and E-Verify, education, employment verifications. So we offer a wide range of services. That's tongue-tied there. We also do offer global searches as well. Verified First patented technology integrates with over 130 cloud-based platforms, including multiple integrations with Workable. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the benefits of Verified First later in the webinar. So you may already feel as if you know why you should run a background check. It's really ultimately to protect your current employees and the company from hiring someone that may cause harm to others or the organization. But there are some other reasons behind the why. Okay, so let's dive in again to how screening is going to really impact your organization. According to Aptitude Research, which is a leading capital management research and advisory firm, there are really three unique ways that background screening impacts your organization. So looking at our first statistic here, we can see that organizations using background screening are twice as likely to improve quality of hires. So to have the best of the best, you'll want to make sure that the candidate you select is the right fit for the role. Knowing is half the battle, and knowing as much as you can about your candidates ultimately improves that quality of hire. The second point here is that organizations using background screening are 3 times more likely to improve time to fill. And this is really an important KPI we see over and over again. I think there's really a misconception out there that adding background screening to the hiring process may slow things down. But in reality, we've seen that it helps eliminate the guesswork. So hiring managers leverage these background checks to hire with confidence and in turn improve that time to fill. And process is key. It's not just about implementing a background screening policy, but it's about how you implement it. And I'm talking about integrating HR platforms. So having an integration with Workable eliminates double entry of candidate information, which then helps reduce errors. It also means that you don't have to manage yet another system for that particular hiring process. Our integration brings everything together within the Workable platform for an end-to-end hiring solution. So you can get the job done quickly and still make effective hiring decisions. And the last point I want to bring up is that organizations using background screening are 2 times more likely to improve recruiter satisfaction. So recruiters have a lot of responsibility and pressure. So there's a strong need to help streamline that hiring process and allowing them to focus more on that candidate experience. This is something that Verified First and Workable took into consideration when we decided to partner together. In a nutshell, we want you to be able to leverage technology to help streamline that background process and really improve the overall turnaround time as well. All right, so let's dig a little bit deeper here. So just to expand a little bit on how screening impacts your organization, screening really improves retention, the overall candidate experience, again, accuracy of hires. In the Verified First solution, that's going to help streamline the hiring process by reducing data entry, and it increases compliance, which we'll discuss a little bit more detail in the later in the webinar, because compliance is extremely important these days. So now let's talk about the cost of a bad hire. That same research done by Aptitude Research discussed a few costs associated with talent acquisition. The cost of talent acquisition on average is about $4,100, but the costs don't stop there. So it's also important to account for that ramp up time to train a new employee. So when an employee isn't the right fit, it can also cost the company 6 to 9 months of their salary to replace them. And as you can see on the side, for an employee making $60,000 a year, recruiting and training costs are between $30,000 and $40,000 on average. So that's a huge loss for just making a poor hiring decision. So getting that information up front, making sure the candidate has the qualifications and they're the best fit for the role is going to be key. All right, so let's talk a little bit now about being consistent with hiring. With screening and your hiring. So you may already feel as if you know why you should run the background check. Again, as we talked about earlier, it's really ultimately about protecting your current employees and the company from hiring someone that may cause harm to others or the organization. But it also safeguards your bottom line by avoiding costs of a bad hire. Consistency throughout your screening policy plays a huge part in creating a solid hiring strategy. Let's go to the next. So let's talk a little bit about some top consistency tips. So it's important to be consistent with your screening policy. And this doesn't mean it's a one size fits all. We understand that every role you're hiring for is a little bit different. So not all roles are the same. So screening packages should be thoughtfully designed to improve the chances of hiring the best person for that role. So Verified First supports this by allowing you to create custom screening packages. So with custom screening packages, you can easily communicate to the hiring managers what checks need to be run for specific roles. For example, if you're hiring a marketing person versus someone in finance, there's going to be different screens you're going to want to run, or an entry-level position versus a vice president or an executive. So not only does this help standardize your screening process and better ensure consistent screening throughout, but it's extremely helpful, especially in organizations where others outside of human resources or talent acquisition will be running checks as well. So to help with consistency, we suggest that your organization first have a written company-wide policy. And this will give you an opportunity to make it known why your organization is screening and make sure your leaders are aware of this policy. Second, you're going to want to create, again, packages based on roles or positions. And by having a policy and creating custom packages, you can better ensure that candidates and employees are being screened in a consistent manner by others throughout your organization. Now we're going to get into everyone's favorite topic, compliance. If you're not being compliant when it comes to background checks, then you're putting not only yourself, but other employees and your organization at risk. So let's talk about how you can help mitigate that risk. All right. First, I want to preface that what I'll be sharing is for informational purposes only and not intended as legal advice. So it's my disclaimer. We always recommend that you work directly with your legal counsel. So first things first, know your laws. Legislation, both federal and state, is changing, and it's crucial that you know what's going on when it comes to background screening, drug testing, I-9, E-Verify, etc. So if you don't know, use a screening provider that will be a true partner and is PBSA accredited. Additionally, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or the FCRA, requires that employers inform and get consent from applicants, and that employers allow applicants to review the results of their background report and dispute and or correct any inaccuracies. So getting consent, that's often included in the disclosure and authorization forms. So the disclosure is going to be the notice to the applicant from the employer informing the applicant that a background check may be run on them. And the authorization is obtained when the applicant grants the employer permission to run that background report. Along with consent, you will also need to provide adverse action notifications. So in terms of background screening, adverse action is any step an employer takes that negatively impacts a candidate's employment opportunity based on information discovered in the pre-employment screening process. So that's a lot there. So meaning if you decide to deny your candidate or applicant employment based off of something in the report, you need to obviously notify them of what that is. The FCRA requires employers to comply with that regulated adverse action process, and this includes sending a pre and then an adverse action notice to the applicant. For more information, you can also check out the Verified First website and our blog on what is adverse action if you're not familiar with that. And we're going to also talk about a little adverse action a little bit more during the demo. Okay. So now let's talk about compliance and a little bit more in regards to state and federal laws. Okay. So again, it's important to know your laws with legislation constantly changing, and you want to ensure that you're presenting and collecting the appropriate required compliance forms to your candidates throughout the hiring process. And this is going to often be determined by where your candidate lives and or where they're going to be working. So they may live in one state and work in another. So it's important to take that in consideration as well. Our recommendation is to select a background screening provider that you can trust and that will seek to update you on legislation changes, compliance, updates, and more. And again, like I said, we'll dive a little bit deeper into compliance also during the demo. Okay, finally, having that compliance strategy in place is key. You want to have a consistent company-wide policy in place, including creating those screening packages based on roles and positions. You want to ensure you're providing the applicable disclosure forms to your candidates, and find a background screening partner that you can trust and that will keep you up to date on legislation and compliance updates. Okay, now let's talk about automation and the importance of integrating your tech stack. And we are going to actually have, in 1 minute or so, we're going to launch another poll, but want to talk a little bit more about ROI when it comes to integration. So, despite only 50% of organizations measuring the return on investment or the ROI of their investment, the true challenge revealed in last year's research was the challenge of integration. There are a plethora of hiring platforms out there, and having them integrate with your screening solution is key. So we are going to launch another poll here. So we're going to pause for a minute. I'll pull this up. Since we just talked about integrating your tech stack, we're really curious to see if you guys are looking to adopt or replace any of the items or systems listed here on the poll. Again, there's no right or wrong answer, and you can select as many that may be applicable to your organization. So we'll give it a couple minutes, not a couple minutes, a minute for folks to go ahead and respond. And we appreciate your input on this. And I'm going to take a quick drink. We'll give it about 20 more seconds. About 5 more seconds. Okay, thank you for those that responded. We certainly appreciate that. And I am going to stop sharing here in one moment because we are going to get into the exciting part of the webinar. We're going to walk through a live demo of the Workable Verified First integration. So Mary, I will stop sharing and I will hand it over to you.
Oh, I do apologize. Can you give me permission to share?
Hi, Mary. Hi, everyone.
do-
I'm behind the scenes. You should have the ability to share your screen now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. So we do have two styles of integration with Workable, and it's really going to come down to what kind of workflow do you want? We have the hardcore or the hard style of integration and API integration with Workable. That's going to be great for people that have one location they need to set up with no cost codes associated. This is going to be a quick and simple kickoff process. So for the API integration, you're going to come into your jobs, choose an applicant that's either in the background section, interview section, or a phone screen. And we have a Mr. Hank Mess here. Now, on the three dots right here next to move to interview, you're going to select that, come down to request background check. Under request background check, you're going to find your custom created packages. So with Verified First, we allow you to custom create your packages. You could name those packages based upon position, based upon level, whatever is going to help you recognize what that package contains and help you create consistency across the board when initiating background checks. So you'll select that background check, hit send request, and immediately your candidate's going to get that email or even a text message for them to go ahead and create that process. And then with the API, once that report's completed, you're going to come into timeline. And this is where you're going to find the timeline of everything that's been done. And then you're going to hit that view reports and be able to open up that report. Now, if you happen to be an organization that has multiple locations and you need to have some sub accounts and cost codes set up, this is where our extension integration is going to come in handy for you. Now, the extension integration, that's only going to take like 2 minutes to install. And with the extension integration, it's just going to be this button right here. You'll select place new order, and it is going to pre-fill your candidate information over here for you. What's great about this one is, like I mentioned, if you have multiple locations you're needing to screen for or need to have set up, you'll be able to have multiple accounts set up here. You'll still have your custom creative packages right here. It is going to be able to have you. Whoops, my email did not pull over. So fun difficulties of technical when you're on a demo here today. It will pre-fill everything for you. This integration will allow cost codes. So if you want to have your invoices itemized out, so finance loves you, you can have invoices itemized out. And you're just going to go ahead, select your package as I mentioned, select that cost code, and set invite out. This method is also going to let you know if you've already screened your candidate. So as you saw a minute ago, I already screened Mr. Hank. So that's notified me of that. This also gives the text message option as well, because this process is 100% mobile friendly for your candidates. You are going to attest that you're using this for employment purposes and you're not trying to run a background screen on your daughter's new boyfriend, even though you may want to. Now, with this process, this is still going to create a tracking system for you as well. Either method you choose to utilize with integration, we're going to ask you, how often do you have automated reminders sent out to your candidates? So you're not going to have to be the person reaching out to Hank going, Hank, do you want this job? We need to get you to get this process completed. Our system will do that for you. Now, we are in a demo environment today. So the step you're going to miss during this is when the candidate completes their side, this will actually change over to file processing for you to let you know we are completing the process. But let's go ahead and jump over to our email so that we can see what the candidate's going to go through here. Now, whoops, wrong email. Sorry, I got quite a few happening here. Now, what we're going to do in this email is we are going to go ahead and put your company name in the subject line so your candidates know who this is coming from. We will also brand it with your logo, given that familiarity. And once your candidate's ready to begin, they're going to go ahead and click this big green button right here. And the process we're going to walk through is going to be the same, no matter if they're doing it from their cell phone or from this email invite. Again, 100% mobile friendly. So your logo is going to be at the top, and we're going to put your company name right here so they know who they're taking the next steps with. On the first page, they do have to say yes to an electronic signature consent. So click to agree. They can sign it with the mouse, a touchscreen, or type their name in. We will ask them to create a 4-digit PIN number. That's only going to be used in case for any reason they have to leave this process. When they come back in, they'll enter in that 4-digit PIN number, and it's going to take them right back to wherever they left off in that process. Now, if you just have one state that you're located in, that state of employment will be pre-filled. Otherwise, you would have had to already pre-filled that state of employment in when you initiated this step. If the state of home address was already entered into the system, that'll be pre-filled for the candidate. Otherwise, we're going to have them go ahead and enter that in. Now, our system is intuitive enough to recognize if there's two different states here. And then on the next steps, our system will automatically apply the highest level of disclosure and authorization forms for your teams, so you guys are not having to worry about that thought process. Now, first one's going to be disclosure regarding background investigation. Your candidates will have our contact information. So if they have questions about this process, about the reports, or in the end, they want to contest any of the information, they'll reach out to us. We'll handle that for you. So click to agree. We do give them the ability to request a free copy of their report once this is all completed. Summary of rights, they can read through this if they choose, but they are going to need to go ahead and go down to the bottom and click to agree. Acknowledgement and authorization. Information that was not pulled over, we're going to go ahead and have your candidate enter in that information right here. The system is going to have guardrails in place that will not allow the candidate to go ahead and move forward without entering in required information. When running criminal background checks, they do not need to enter in 7 years of address history. They're only going to need to enter in their current address for us. If in your package, you're running employment verifications or motor vehicle reports, we'll gather all that information for your candidates. You're not going to have to worry about going back and entering in all that yourself. We'll do that for you. If you're just running a criminal report, this is all the process that is for your candidate. They're done other than go ahead and confirming everything is correct. If everything looks good, they can go ahead and submit that. And in just a moment, a confirmation page will pop up here for your candidate. On this confirmation page, on the left-hand side, we'll have your contact information. On the right-hand side, it will be verified first. We will send your candidate an email letting them know that yes, everything has been completed, giving them another opportunity to download or print those disclosure forms. When you come back to your email, we will let you know that the candidate has completed their process and verified first is processing those reports. So you're not going to have to babysit anything. Same thing when those reports are completed. You're not going to have to babysit. We'll notify you. If this is telling you report complete, it's a clear background check. If we told you report complete and flagged, that's us trying to let you know, hey, there's adverse information in there. So whether you're using the API integration or the extension integration, the system is going to notify you as it's going through the steps. Now, you can either use this button right here to click and open the report, or you can go back into Workable. I showed you how to view that report from the API. Using the extension, you're just going to go ahead and hit View Report, and it's going to open up over the top right here for you. Right here, let's say this report had adverse information. You can take free pre-adverse action, straight from the system via email. It'll document it for you. You'll have a nice dashboard right here to where you can track where everyone's at in that process. And if you ever wonder what's happening with my reports, what are my turnaround times going to look like for those county reports? We do have the ability for you to come in and drill down to county turnaround times for every county across the US. So if you really want to dig into those turnaround times, you definitely can. We're also going to have a message center right here for you to where you can easily see what might be happening across the US for anything that might be slowing down your current turnaround time reports. Because sometimes things happen at county courthouses that we can't control, that we want you to be aware of. Not only are we going to give you insights into what might be happening with your turnaround times, but we're also going to give you full control over your packages, your users, everything right here on your fingertips. Of course, we're going to give you 100% customer service, contacts with customer service, training, everything right there at your fingertips. So it's really a great slick integration we're able to offer here. I'll go ahead and shoot that back over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Mary. That was wonderful. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Go ahead and share my screen again. So give me one moment. Okay. Can you see my screen okay?
You are good.
Awesome. Okay. So thank you again. I want to take a quick moment just to highlight a few of the benefits of Verify First. Verify First can integrate, as we shared, with over 130 HR solutions, including Workable, to make screening convenient, no matter what part of your tech stack you're using it from. And the best part is when we shared, it's free. The browser extension integration can be downloaded in a matter of seconds, and it can open up also within your Workable platform. You can also take the comfort in knowing that we are PBSA accredited and our solutions have built-in settings and tools to ensure compliance and security. Again, making sure your candidates are getting those correct compliance forms. The ease of use, customization, as Mary said, you can customize packages, you can do a la carte ordering. You can also manage users as well. And then SMX text capabilities. As we know, more people are on their phones than they are on their computers in many cases. So being able to have that right there come to their phone will help speed up that process greatly. And best of all is our unmatched support. So no matter what size organization, you will receive world-class customer service from us. When you have questions or need assistance, you can pick up the phone and actually be connected to a human who's eager to help you all within seconds. So there's no forcing you to submit a ticket or directing you to endless self-help articles, although we do have those as well. So I think those are definitely a few of the differentiators of Verify First. Now, if we haven't gotten to all of your questions, again, we will be sharing contact information. I know we've covered a lot of information today, so just as a reminder, that Q&A is at the top if you want to ask a last minute question, if you haven't already done so. And we'll, like I said, if we can't get to all those today, or if something comes up after the webinar ends, please feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to share, as you can see here, my contact information as well as the partner at Verified First. So both of those will get answers for you. But I do want to ask that before you guys jump off, just to remind you to please stick around to do that brief survey. Again, it's going to pop up in your browser just as soon as we end the webinar. It's very important for us to just understand and get your feedback and input for future presentations. It's so valuable to us. So, and we'd love, again, to hear any thoughts you have as well on future webinars that you think that would be beneficial for you. And it just takes a couple of minutes, so, or actually about a minute, not even. So please stick around, and thank you again very much for joining us today. We do appreciate it, and we hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you.